Joining us now, the chairman of House Administration, Congressman Steil. Congressman, we thank you for joining us tonight. It's good to see you again. So, Congressman, let's go right to it. You and Chairman Jim Jordan of House Judiciary, House Oversight Chair James Comer, you all sent that letter to Manhattan DA Bragg. He now says the GOP is interfering in his probe, and he claims that Trump's lawyers got you guys to intervene. How do you respond to that? What do you say?
I was disappointed to hear his reply. I'd like him to come forward and answer what I think are pretty straightforward questions, all with a federal nexus. Is he using federal funds intended for public safety for a partisan exercise in this investigation? Is he coordinating with federal agencies, including the United States Department of Justice? And third, is he encroaching on the federal domain of enforcing federal election laws? I think these are pretty straightforward questions that not only Congress should know the answer to, but the American people deserve to know the answer to.
So that's the standing you guys are saying for why he should be. Do you think you will? Any of the committees will subpoena him?
We're having conversations between Jim Jordan, James Comer, and myself as to what our next steps will be. I'd like him, though, to just turn the tide here and come forward and explain pretty straightforward questions with a direct federal nexus. In particular, when the federal government is providing public safety grants to DAs across the country, including the Manhattan DA, Mr. Bragg's office, are these funds being used for the purposes that they were intended for public safety, or for a partisan purpose? It's all the more important when we see progressive district attorneys across the country refusing to prosecute serious violent crime.
Okay, so if he doesn't decide to come forward, would any of the chairmen, would you or James Comer or Jim Jordan say yes, subpoena him?
I'm not taking anything off the table at this moment in time, but we are having those conversations to determine what is the next step.
So despite what, so this is the story here. How critical is it to determine the genesis of this probe? Who was involved in resurrecting this case? Because Alvin Bragg said, I don't want to do it. Cyrus Vance said no to it. The Federal Election Commission said, we're going to drop it. So is it that, do you want to find out, did Bragg do this on his own, or did anyone assert influence here?
It's a perfect question to be asking, and the reason it's so important is the situation is so unprecedented. Never before have we had a former president of the United States of America indicted, in particular by a partisan countywide district attorney. This is a very serious situation that I think requires us to ask the tough questions.
This turn, okay, let's explain this. We're going to slowly break this down. Trump told Fox and Friends in 2018 the payments to Stormy Daniels did not come out of his 2016 campaign, that, quote, they came from me. Again, they didn't come out of his campaign. He paid for it. Now, the DA's star witness is Michael Cohen. He's a convicted felon. He's a perjurer. He's convicted of perjury. We're showing this letter in 2018 from Michael Cohen's then lawyer to the Federal Election Commission. It undercuts the Manhattan DA's star witness, Michael Cohen. It says Cohen, quote, used his own personal money to pay $130,000 to Stormy Daniels, and that Trump and Trump's campaign did not reimburse Cohen for the payment, and there was no in-kind campaign donation from Cohen to Trump's campaign. So this feels like this letter, if it's admitted into testimony, we don't know if the grand jury has seen it. It seems like this would undercut the case dramatically.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions as it relates to the facts. I think it's all the more the reason that other attorneys have looked at this case and chosen not to prosecute. We saw the United States Department of Justice not prosecute. We've seen the DA's office previously not prosecute. It begs the question, why now, and what is the motivation behind this? Okay,
Michael Cohen's former legal advisor, Robert Costello, he's saying he told the grand jury Cohen is, quote, a serial liar. Cohen's own lawyer, Lanny Davis, said this hangs on a he said case. And again, Cohen was convicted of perjury. But the media has been having a field day, again claiming the walls were closing in. Watch this.
This is the way the rule of law is supposed to work. And that's the way it works, folks on the right. You're just going to have to suck it up and get used to it.
Talking of drills, I wouldn't want to be the Secret Service guy who has to plan how to protect Donald Trump if he ever ends up in prison. That would be a weird one.
And let me tell you something. Donald Trump doesn't save you if you break the law.
Oh, he's the Wizard of Oz.
Because you go to jail. And there's a chance that Donald Trump himself may go to jail. And everybody can scream and squawk.
He manipulated everybody. We all rose to the occasion. The papers, everybody just went there.
So many people were excited.
I was watching MSNBC yesterday. They were going berserk with, Trump potentially being arrested. Trump is the one who said he was going to be arrested, and they all believe him.
Listen, of course, the media, everybody, it's free speech. They have a right to their opinions. But just to read of the facts, when you see the details of this case and how it rolled out and what you know about the case, was this the case to go to if you're going to get Trump?
Well, my priority is that everyone is treated equally under the law. And what the concern is that our judicial system is allowing partisan politics to get in the way. I think it's a concern that a lot of people have with our judicial system writ large. It's one of the reasons we're asking these types of questions.
Okay, let's listen to Michael Cohen's former legal advisor, Robert Costello, talking to Martha McCallum earlier today. Watch this.
I handed them, for example, 321 emails. They put 6 into evidence. That's less than 2%. He also said that he didn't waive the attorney-client privilege. This is the waiver of the attorney-client privilege, signed by Michael Cohen and his then attorney, Michael Monaco. And I was amazed to find out that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office didn't know about this until I told them. How could you be proceeding with this case when Michael Cohen, according to public reports, met with your office 20 times, and then he went to the grand jury 2 additional times? So on 22 occasions, he met with your office and failed to mention that he had waived the attorney-client privilege?
There's so much about this case. Your final word, Congressman.
There's a lot of questions on this case. Everybody needs to be treated equally under the law. That's why we're asking these questions.
Got it. Congressman Steil, thanks for joining us tonight.